So I'm out here working on the skiff right now, and I came out here to diagnose my tight steering. And there's a couple things that it could be. I really was hoping that it was going to be the most simple thing. Just for an update, this is how tight the steering is. It's still movable. It's definitely not seized up. And usually when it's on the water, after a couple minutes, it'll loosen up a bit. But the easiest thing that it could be would be these grease fittings right here and right here would just need grease. One step further from those just needing grease would be to take this bar off and see if you can easily turn the wheel. If you take this bar off, and there's a 14mm bolt down here, and this just pops out. If you take this off and have your steering cable just being its own thing without turning the motor at all, if you can move that easily, then you got a bigger problem, which is kind of what I have, because I disconnected it and my wheel was turning very easy, which means that my problem is not in this housing down here. My problem is unfortunately within the pivot bushing, I think it's called. Basically, there's a bushing in here that when it has old grease in there due to lack of maintenance or whatever, the old grease and the old bushing will basically just squeeze up against the housing. And to fix that, you'd have to basically take apart the whole entire motor. And that, unfortunately, is what this one needs. I've seen some people take their grease gun, and instead of using grease, they'll load it with penetrating fluid and push it through those grease fittings. But this one, you know, honestly, it's not that big of a deal. If it was more seized than this, then I would go ahead and just take the motor apart. But it's not the end of the world. Like I said, whenever you get on the water and that motor starts vibrating, it breaks it up and it gets pretty easy. But yeah, first thing would be to grease it up. Second thing would be to take that bar out and clean out the housing. Use like a dowel rod and some sandpaper and put it on your drill and just shove it in there and completely clean out all that corrosion. And then the third thing, unfortunately, would be to get to those bushings in there on that steering column. I'm not gonna do that. It's not worth it to me. Like I said, it's not that bad. Even when it's sitting right here, I can still steer it. I can move it left and right. And once it's in the water, way easier. It is what it is. I was on a roll trying to make this boat as perfect as possible. So it's unfortunate that it's not just the simplest option of greasing up those grease fittings. I think a shop charges $2,700 to $3,000 for repairing that bushing. You got to take the whole engine out from the top. The bushing is underneath. Takes a lot of man hours and a lot of money. It's not something that I deem worthy of this. It's not a big enough problem for me. This boat is still going to get on the water. It's still going to be driven just fine. Like I said, whenever you get in the water and it starts vibrating, it loosens up quite a bit. What a beautiful night it is, though. Sun is setting perfectly. About to get out of here, grab some food. This is one of my favorite things to do. Just hang out here, listen to some music on the speaker, a nice country tune, and make bad boats better. I'll do that all day. I lose track of time out here. And they say if you love what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life. Dang, it's a bummer that those grease fittings didn't fix the problem. I really left a lot of grease on this thing though. But that's for another time. I'll come clean that up tomorrow. I got rid of all my rags. I took them all inside last night. I probably had 56 rags in the trunk. Some dirty, some clean. but they all got mixed together. They're in the washing machine now, so I'm gonna come back out tomorrow and clean this thing up. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Look at all that grease. It looks terrible. I really over greased it, but I over greased it because I was really hoping that I was gonna take care of it. When I was pushing grease through, I pushed out a ton of old grease, and that's where the problem lies, is just old grease just sitting in there for a long time, getting salty over the years, and then just seizing up. But I pushed most of it out. So it's, even with what I did, just pushing grease through, it's definitely easier to turn than it was before. So I'll take the victory on that. But I'm gonna call it quits here. Just to go over everything, first thing you need to check is just greasing it up. Second thing is this steering column tube. Take the bar out and just basically bore out the tube. I guess you could even use like a shotgun cleaning kit for this long tube right here. And then if that's not the case, you're gonna be looking at a $2,700 to $3,000 job if you take it somewhere to get that bushing replaced. What a bummer, man. What a bummer. It's such a small thing. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Hope you guys are having as good of a night as I am. Look at a beauty back there. No complaints coming from this side. Whoa. But that'll do it. Peace.